This is Moxie, the Malört of sodas, and I think that's a little bit unfair, but it is true to say that a lot of people hate this stuff, that has a reputation as something most people will not enjoy. It was first put together in 1884. It is from Maine, where it does retain a certain amount of cult popularity. It is a bitter soda. A lot of people ask, Greg, why is that not in your cola review that you did a couple weeks ago? Well, because I don't really regard it as a cola, and I thought I was going to do a whole episode of old soft drinks that are not colas, that are before cola was really solidified as the main way to have a soft drink. And I shot it, and it didn't go that well. So I might make that one a patron exclusive. I don't know how to package it for a YouTube audience to make them click. I don't know how to do that. But today on How to Drink, I'm going to attempt to make cocktails with Moxie, or at the very least, see what I can do with it behind the bar. I've been doing this series lately where I take divisive, hated, disgusting spirits like Baijiu and Malört and Jägermeister, which I think is really not offensive at all, and try to invent new and good cocktails that use them. And today I'm going to try that, but a little bit differently, because Moxie is, of course, non-alcoholic, but it does present the same kind of a challenge, and I think it's going to be fun. And yet, it does present some interesting opportunities here, too. Because Moxie is non-alcoholic, maybe I can come up with some low or no proof cocktail alternatives here. So that might be really fun. Those are hard. It's really hard to make good non-alcoholic cocktails. I mean, at the end of the day, a good non-alcoholic cocktail is a soft drink. That aside, we all understand that there's a difference between a soda and a non-alcoholic cocktail. They're hard though, because especially if you're trying to recreate the taste of spirits, there are things that are soluble in liquor that simply are not soluble in water. And so you cannot take the flavory parts of bourbon, of gin, of rum, and get them into a soda because you're taking out the alcohol. So you gotta really come up with some interesting workarounds. Moxie might be one of them. In fact, actually, one of the best non-alcoholic cocktails I've encountered are various versions of non-alcoholic Negronis. Those actually work out to be quite nice in my opinion. So that's it. Let's get going. First things first, what does this most hated of sodas taste like? Now, personally, I had some the other day and I find it quite enjoyable. Gentian. It has a drying, bitter front. It is sweet, and that resolves into certain cola-ish notes. I think there's some allspice and cinnamon and vanilla in there, but I think most people are really overpowered by its bitter nature. It's quite bitter if you're used to things like Coca-Cola and Pepsi. And if you're expecting a Coca-Cola when you open this, you will be floored. You will be completely thrown to the floor by what this tastes like. It is nothing like a Coca-Cola, which is super refreshing to me. But yeah, the primary flavor component here is bitter. And I mean bitter. It dries out your mouth the way Angostura does or something, where you can feel it kind of, the astringency sort of sucking the moisture out of the membranes of your mouth, which is so appetizing to say. But honestly, I like it. I like it a lot. I find it a little bit sinus clearing, which if you can hear it in my voice, I don't know, I think I'm coming down with something. I find it a little bit sinus clearing. It's nice. I like it. I like this, which on one hand is gonna make it easier for me to work with. On the other hand, it makes me maybe unrelatable to you, because I feel like most people who have this stuff don't like it. That's not true. I'm aware of the fact that there used to be, I don't know if anymore, but like Moxie festivals where lovers of Moxie would get together. It is still for sale, primarily in Maine, but you'll find it at just about any Cracker Barrel you stop at and various other places. There is a market for Moxie out there. So many people love Negronis. That's a very popular cocktail. It's not actually my favorite cocktail, but a lot of people love a Negroni. I think that it's expectations. I think the reason people have a hard time with Moxie is because they're looking at it and they're thinking Coca-Cola, and then they drink it and they're like, what the fuck? Those same people might pick up a glass and say, oh, a Negroni. And they're expecting a Negroni, and they're like, oh, this is great. If you picked it up and I said, that's a cherry soda, how is it? You would fucking hate it. You would absolutely hate it. So I think that part of the reason Moxie gets a bad rap is because of your expectations. I think if you shift your expectations, you'll probably find Moxie to be quite enjoyable. It is reasonably high in sugar compared to like spirits, mixed drinks, things like that. So it's 37 grams of sugar in, what is it? It's 355 milliliters, right? So it's like slightly more than 10%, I guess, which is not bad. I think Coca-Cola is like 12%. That range of like 8 to 12% is pretty normal for sodas. I've had a couple that were like at 15%, and they are, whoa, sweet, they're gross. Now, what do we do with it here in a bar? I didn't really come with a plan. I think that some of the things you could do this is add acidity, because it's bitter, but it's not acid. So I think lime juice will pair nicely with this quite a bit. We don't need to add sugar ever. I think once you start putting lime juice into it, we're gonna find out that we can do fun things like add rum to it. I think you could do a Moxie rum and lime, and actually that's what I'm gonna do right now, because that sounds really nice. Do I have any rum within reach? That's a rum. It's a hell of a rum, but you know, we could use this, right? I might wanna go with something just a little less, there we go. Something a little less of a statement here. A little Plantation 5, which I guess they're changing their name to Plantaray, which is fine. I think that's good. Put an ice cube into my glass. Let's get a lime. Really need to make this shot work better. I guess for science sake, we should measure. Do I want an ounce or a half an ounce? So that's a half an ounce. Let's start with a half an ounce. We can always bring that up, move it by degrees. We'll do 1.5 ounces of our rum. Plantation 5 here. And then generally with this kind of a thing, I would do, you know, at least 6 ounces now of our soft drink. So let's do that, 6 ounces. Oh, no, let's see if we can fit 6 ounces. Let's do 4 for now and give that a taste. Moxie's a pretty loud flavor, which is one of the reasons it's probably gonna be fun to work with because it will stand up to spirits, in my opinion. I haven't tried this yet. But this is a Moxie and rum. I think Moxie just became my favorite soft drink to have in a bar. They should put this on soda guns. Damn. Oh my God, that's awesome. It is lime, brightness, like Angostura spices, cinnamon, clove, and allspice, with a bitterness up front. What is that though? There is a synthesis between the lime and the Moxie happening here that is just, delectable. That's the ratio. I'm not gonna fuck with that. And the whole thing, the rum is not lost, and this is not a particularly loud rum. I think a louder rum, I think you get away with some funky Jamaican rum here for sure. I think you could actually put some Smith & Cross in this and it would be cool. The rum with the Moxie and stuff, it takes on the sweeter characteristics of the rum. I think that they're kind of complementary. They're working off of each other. I get like the kind of sugar caney molasses sweetness. I don't know. That's freaking cool. And because of the bitterness, it would be a huge stretch to say that this is like a rum Negroni. It's not, but it pushes it into that direction of something like a Negroni. It's also reminiscent of a Queen's Park Swizzle, which has a ton of Angostura bitters in it, the way I make them. God, I do wonder now, is Moxie just Angostura soda? I think it might be. You know, we stretched it out, and now we've got some new flavors coming to the fore here. Okay, so jot that down. Half an ounce of lime juice, 1.5 ounces of rum, 4 ounces of Moxie. A sprig of mint would be fantastic here. You know, in my time, I've eaten a lot of things, and what I've learned is that for my money, when it comes to eating, you really just can't beat food. Hands down, the best thing to eat is food. No question there. And wouldn't you know it, the sponsor of this episode is Factor, and they deliver fully complete food directly to your mouth. So thank you, Factor. Factor's chef-prepared, ready-to-eat meals can be from the box and on the table in 2 minutes flat, which can be super handy if your life is shackled to the never-ending hamster wheel that is a career on YouTube. There's no escape. It's super easy for me to be grinding the day away and here filming episodes or behind my computer editing them, and the next thing you know, it's dinner time, and I've got crippling decision fatigue, and now I'm stressed out about what to eat and how to eat it, and I'm reaching for the phone because takeout is calling my name, whispering its sweet, seductive siren's call into my ears. But takeout is usually fried stuff that I shouldn't eat, and it costs a ton of money when you really think about it. But not anymore, because my fridge has Factor meals in it that are ready to go. I just shuffle the empty shell shaped like a man that I am up to the fridge and grab a meal like this jalapeno lime cheddar chicken, and I heat it up. You can use an oven or a microwave, or if you're me, the fiery rage of a man whose life is dictated by the whims of an audience chosen through the arcane system of algorithmic discovery. And just like that, it's ready to eat. Tastes a lot better than takeout too. Now pay attention, because it says I need to read this part verbatim. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code HowToDrink50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code HowToDrink50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next months of orders. Thanks, Factor. Okay, fun times. I don't want to just keep trying different rums. I mean, we could try how it is with bourbon, you know, because people, you know, you do Jack and Coke. Why not a Jack and Moxie? Do I have any Jack Daniels? I might. I don't know when I've ever used Jack Daniels on the show. Let's do a Jack and Moxie, same idea. Might be able to work through a few things here, okay? 1.5 ounces of our Jack Daniels. And right now in the comments, some jack off is like, duh, Jack Daniels isn't bourbon. The reason Jack Daniels isn't bourbon is because the Jack Daniels company says so. People are gonna be like, bourbon has to come from Bourbon County. That's not true. It has to be made in America, it has to be 51% corn, has to touch oak. I think that's about it, actually. It doesn't even have to really be aged. There's no age requirement, so it just has to touch it. You can actually make an oak pipe and pour your juice through it on its way into whatever bottles you're using, and you could call it bourbon. So Jack Daniels meets all of those requirements, except that they call it Tennessee whiskey. Once again, I'm gonna try and do 4 ounces. Obviously, this is just a twofer, just a spirit mixer, not even a lime. Just to see how it is, right? Like, I've never used Moxie in a bar. It has a totally different aroma. I mean, it smells like whiskey now, very strongly. I like that significantly less. I don't think I would normally put lime juice here, but let's just see what it does. It's not good. No. I mean, it's not good for me. It has, the peanut notes are quite present. Some people are gonna like that. I like that usually. Here, I find that the flavors are kind of just muddled and muted, whereas this is like electricity. This is alive. It's so fucking good, it's insane. Here, like, even the bitterness of the Moxie is kind of gone. It doesn't taste like wet cardboard, but poetically, I would say it's a wet cardboard drink. If that makes any sense. Yeah, it's kind of limp. It's just sort of a limp drink. Flaccid. No bueno, not for me. Huh, all right, Moxie and rum like each other. I wonder what else we can do with this Moxie. I always like to make a last word-ish drink when I do one of these. I'm not comfortable shaking Moxie, although I might try it before this episode is over. But I think we can use a very rough idea of a last word. I don't know, I'm just gonna call this last word inspired. I don't even know if this will come close to following the last word format, but something in that world. Maraschino. I actually think that the Maraschino and the Moxie, I know we're adding more sweetness now, but I think that that will do cool things together. Let's do the gin. I'm gonna use this Bowling and Birch gin, but any London Dry would, I think, be fine here. What is this doing in this drink? It's sweet and bitter. There's really not a lot of bitterness in a last word, so, the kind of nutty notes there. We've got the gin. I guess gin can be thought of as bitter, although it's not really that bitter. So what are we missing in this equation? I guess we're missing a little bit of herbaceousness. Certainly we're gonna need a little lime juice. The measurements are gonna be very different from like a last word. Herbaceousness, maybe a spritz of absinthe. Oh, wait a second. All right, so absinthe in the glass. I missed the glass, went right on my hand. There you go. Put that in there. Let's start slow. We'll do 1/4 ounce of Maraschino. We're gonna do, I guess, 1 ounce of gin. Could be 1.5 ounces before we're done. Could be 2 ounces. I don't know. And then some lime juice. It's 1/2 ounce of lime juice. Crack open my nice cold Moxie. Let's try to keep this closer in numbers. We'll do 3 ounces of Moxie. Here's mud in your eye. I do like that. I don't know if you're gonna like it, but I like it. There's a lot going on in there. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. The absinthe and Moxie love each other. Oh my God. Those licorice anise notes and the Moxie really play off of each other so well. The Ango soda. I don't know what else to call it. I think Moxie's an Angostura soda. The cinnamon, the clove, allspice, right? The triptych, those guys, plus some other stuff that's in there. I mean, definitely gentian. Gentian big time. I don't know how I didn't say that before, but Moxie is essentially a gentian soda, as far as my mouth can tell me. That with the absinthe are wonderful flavors. Obviously, the absinthe could easily overpower the Moxie. That's why we're just using a spritz here. The lime juice, I don't think we're ever gonna get this thing away from acid. The Moxie loves lime juice. We gotta try it with lemon in a second, but it really, those two flavors really work together so well. And already right there, you're in my opinion, the Moxie, absinthe, and lime juice are already fantastic. The gin, I'm not sure I'm getting it. Oh no, there it is. It's just subtle. Very subtle piney kind of note there. Let's say 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through this flavor evolution. It leaves your mouth with a kind of astringent, bitter dryness that isn't always desired, but if you're in that mood, I generally like it if I can get it without it being aggressively bitter, and that's what's happening here. I like it. I find this really cool. Just the Moxie itself is gonna be tricky to get not that tricky. You can order it on Amazon. I'll put a link down here and up here in the corner. If you try this drink, I really want to know what you think of it. I love it. I'm having so much fun with Moxie. Which brings me to the fact that this episode of How to Drink is brought to you by viewers like you, who have chosen to support the show through Patreon. I mean that very seriously. How to Drink is really made possible through Patreon, through people who love the show, deciding to support the show, and frankly, keep it going. If you've ever thought about supporting How to Drink through Patreon, but you haven't taken a look, take a look. I don't know, maybe there's something over there that you're gonna be into. I'll tell you what you're gonna find over there. You're gonna find episodes of How to Drink without commercials. You're gonna find exclusive extra drinks, exclusive extra pieces of content. There are behind the scenes looks, things that, you get to see what I'm developing for the show ahead of time, new sets, new things. There's new things back there. There's a patrons only Discord server. People love that. I love that. We're all in there having a nice time. I am bouncing ideas off of you. You guys are frankly helping me in innumerable ways that make the show. Worth the noting, the annual How to Drink Secret Santa is coming as we approach Q4 here. There are new things in the works, actually, that you will find out about if you're in that Discord. Just had a real breakthrough with it just the other day that I don't want to say until they're more solid, but there's new benefits coming to patrons all the time. If there's something that's not in there and you wish that there was, let me know. Maybe we can add it to the offerings on the Patreon side of things. And so thank you for taking a look at the Patreon. To those of you who have been supporting the show on my Patreon, thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart for making this show possible. And honestly, it's humbling and I don't know how to process it. It's a compliment I'm not very good at taking. So thank you a lot. Thank you a lot to you. Have a Moxie. I don't know why Moxie isn't in more bars. It belongs in bars. Moxie, you want to talk sponsorship, baby? You want to work together? We can do some stuff. We've done gin, we've done rum, we've tried whiskey. I don't think whiskey works. I wonder if you can do smoke. Let me see, do I have a bottle of Mezcal? Yeah, I got a bottle of Mezcal. What the hell? Let's just see what happens. This is just a thought experiment at this point, not much more. See what happens. You may notice that I'm not gonna be reaching for my old friend Angostura bitters because the Moxie is already kind of doing that. It would just be more of the same. So here's an ounce of Jicaru Mezcal and 2 ounces of Moxie, just a 2-to-1 ratio, just for testing purposes. We'll build on top of that if we see promise. Let's do another 2 ounces of Moxie. I don't think this is gonna work. Now we're at a 4-to-1 ratio. Okay, interesting. Let's get some lime juice in there, see if we can get an ounce. I don't know. I have a feeling this is still gonna be a dud. But at the very least, maybe there's something in this, maybe. All right, let's see what the hell this is. It's not doing anything to honor the Mezcal. No, I hate it. I don't like it at all. It's doing nothing to really honor the Mezcal. the bitterness and the smokiness are actually not complementary. They're clashing. You're getting like it's just like the most Band-Aidy version of it you can imagine, with like almost none of the other stuff. No mezcal smokiness, it just tastes like Band-Aids. It's gross. Not into that. We should try to shake something. This will be the Bangor Sour, I think. So we're actually gonna shake this. Let's do 1 ounce of lemon juice. 1 ounce. Oh, of course, my shaker was blocking the camera, but that's all right. 2 ounces of bourbon. I'm gonna use Yellowstone. It's fine bourbon. Worked with them a couple years ago, so I have a lot of it. I know that the Moxie's pretty sweet, but I'm not gonna fuck with the ratio of a sour. It's gonna be 1 ounce of simple. Maybe 3/4 of an ounce of simple. Get your ice into your tin. This bad boy up. Strain that. Now we're gonna do a float of Moxie, although I think it'll sink. Let's see what happens here. Moxie will sink. Yeah. Or is it totally gonna mix? No, it's kind of sitting on the bottom. I bet if we give it a second to settle, it'll really sit down. It doesn't need to set on the bottom, but I like the idea of there being a separation just visually. It's weird, it's actually kind of sitting on the right. If I turn this, you'll see what I mean. All right, let's see how the Bangor Sour is. The Moxie's not loud enough. Yeah, that's funny. I don't know that I can even really detect it. Hold on. It's a fine whiskey sour. I guess there's a little Moxie in there. Nah, no bueno. The Bangor Sour don't do it. I feel like I need one more. I don't know why, just because those were so quick. I need one more. All right, I have this crazy idea. I said before that I was interested in the idea of being able to do something non-alcoholic with this. So let's try it. I'm gonna start by I'm gonna start by pinching off some mint. Then I'm gonna add some lime juice. 1/2 ounce? No, we want 1 ounce. Let's muddle that. Cracked. Four ounces of Moxie.
4 ounces.
And 1 ounce of Cheerwine. Cheerwine is an old school cherry soda, or cherry cola, it might be more accurate. Why am I doing that? This evolved. In my mind, originally it was going to be a version of a Manhattan, and then it stopped being that. I'm gonna call this a Cracker Barrel Punch, and Cracker Barrel, you can have this if you want. All the ingredients are available right there. That's pretty good. Genuinely, that's a good non-alcoholic cocktail. Lime and mint work together so well. The bitterness of the Moxie actually is very nicely, it's nice to transition from the lime and mint into the bitter Moxie. But the Cheerwine, it's got like notes of cherry on top of it. I mean, this is cool. This is a really good non-alcoholic cocktail. Because of the lime and the mint, it doesn't feel too sweet. It has a pretty high level of relative sweetness, but it doesn't come across that way. I'm into it. It's a Cracker Barrel Punch. Cracker Barrel Punch, you could call it a Cracker Barrel Smash. I really like it. It's super refreshing. Wow, that's awesome. Oh yeah. You get these cherry and Moxie kind of like minty lime notes all kind of playing off of each other. It's really good. Please try that. I am thrilled by the way that came out. Oh my God, it's so cool. Well, there you go. Non-alcoholic cocktails are really hard, but there's one of them. It's a lot of fun that way. Shit. The only problem with it is you're gonna drink it too fast. Like a lot of non-alcoholic cocktails. The presence of spirits, it slows you down. Whether it's because like, oh, that's aggressive. I gotta like, I don't have a mouth, I don't have a palate that's acclimated to that, or just like your awareness of the fact that you should tread lightly. You're getting drunk. With a non-alcoholic cocktail, all of those limitations are gone, and you're gonna race through them if you're not careful. And the problem with that is that people charge an arm and a leg for them. So it's gonna end up costing the same as any other cocktail. If that was priced like a soft drink or slightly above a soft drink like it is at a restaurant or a bar, you could slug them down. But they're gonna compare it to a cocktail because they call it a non-alcoholic cocktail, and so it's gonna be, $12 to $15, and it's one of my little pet peeves about non-alcoholic cocktails. From a mixological standpoint, I actually really like this a lot. Greg, you love everything you make. Well, there's two principles at play here. One, I just have a kind of a sense about what's gonna work well together and what flavors will play off of each other. And I don't know that I could even articulate that. I've just been doing this for so long, and I've made so many drinks, and not just made them, but like invented them here, that I guess I'm starting to put those things together. The other thing that goes alongside of that is that I've got a very expansive palate. I don't have a very narrow scope of what I love. I love a lot of things, like those people who love all music. There's a huge range of cocktails that I will like, and even the ones that I don't really like, I can probably appreciate, in like an intellectual kind of way, as opposed to like on an instinctual level. So sure, you should take what I say with a grain of salt. Your mileage may vary, but I love that, and it wasn't all perfect. Both of the whiskey drinks sucked. They just sucked. And Moxie and whiskey does not like each other. Moxie and cheerwine and mint and lime, though, man, they go together like gangbusters. That's so good. I do have one more idea for a drink with Moxie, but that's going to be a Patreon exclusive. So if you want to see it, check out the link in the pin comment below or up here. Check out my Patreon, see if there's anything over there that strikes your fancy, such as another drink with Moxie. And it's going to be a fun one, by the way. Until then, thank you so much for watching. This is How to Drink. Please like and subscribe. I will see you next time on another episode of HTD.